The public are in as well, yeah.
There's nobody waiting in the lobby currently.
Okay. We'll start. Yeah.
Yes.
Agenda item 5, budget requirement and council tax 2026-27. To consider the report of the Director of Finance, Councillor Hannah Williams-Price, claimed by you address the council, please.
Thank you, Chair. This report outlines a proposed budget requirement and council tax for the financial year 26-27. It details the statutory obligations, financial challenges and local priorities that shape this year's budget setting process, while placing strong emphasis on the long-term sustainability of core council services. The recommendations brought before members reflect a balanced and forward-looking approach that delivers legal required balanced budget for 26-27, but also strengthens the council's financial position for future years. The first recommendation asks council to note and accept the implications of the Welsh Government's final local government settlement, which provides a 4.7% increase in funding for Merthyr Tydfil. This uplift is welcomed, but must be considered alongside ongoing demographic pressures, service demands and inflation. Members are also asked to note the findings of the budget consultation, which engaged 1,345 residents and highlighted public priorities such as social care and education. And understanding these priorities ensures that the council's financial decisions remain sustainable by aligning resources with areas of highest public value. Scrutiny committee feedback is likewise recommended for noting and acceptance. Committees raised observations and recommendations, which are detailed in Appendix 3, and addressing these issues enhanced transparency and supported sustainable decision making by ensuring members have clear sight of financial risks and mitigations. And thank you to all members for their participation in these committees. Members are further asked to accept the projected pay and inflationary pressures, including the assumed 2.5% NJC pay award, and the CPI currently at 3.4% and projected by the Bank of England to lower further to 2%. Acknowledging these pressures provides a realistic foundation for long-term budget modelling and ensures that the council does not underestimate their future liabilities. The report also recommends approving a series of additional demands totaling 3.957 million, and these represent needed spend in areas such as ALN support, social care demand, homelessness duties, waste management and capital financing. By incorporating these demands now rather than deferring them, the council strengthens its ability to manage medium-term service pressure and avoids compounding future financial risk. To offset rising pressures, members are asked to approve £3.58 million of cost reductions, and these savings will largely be achieved through efficiencies, grant maximisation and prudent use of service reserves, and the focus is on maintaining service levels while creating financial headroom in future years. Notably, no new efficiency reductions are supporting long-term educational outcomes and service stability. Further recommendations include approving the updated fees and charges register, which generally applies a 3.4% uplift aligned to CPI, and endorsing additional budget adjustments such as the use of the PEPR grant, FIFA profit share, or both to ease short-term pressures. A council tax increase of 4.95% is proposed to support a balanced budget, resulting in a Band D charge of £2,186.33. This is slightly below the medium-term financial plan's projection, and this approach helps maintain core services now while reducing reliance on reserves, a key principle of long-term financial sustainability. Welsh Government has provided flexibility with regards to minimum revenue provision, as detailed in Section 9. And although we do not intend to utilise this new flexibility as a route to balance the budget for 26-27, prevent shifting financial burdens onto future generations, we do recognise that such flexibility on MRP payments may be needed in the future to mitigate against unexpected cost pressures. And therefore, the report asks members to approve the minimum revenue provision statement. Council is asked to note the Director of Finance's confirmation that the estimates are robust and reserves remain adequate, and this assurance demonstrates that the budget not only balances for 26-27, but also protects the Council's long-term financial resilience. For the first time in several years, we are presenting a balanced budget without any demand on our general budget reserves, and this means we are less reliant on short-term fixes to close the gap, and instead can build a foundation that is sustainable for the future. We've proposed this budget with no impact on core services, although risks remain in relation to external funding, which we sought to mitigate through allocation of core funding for continuation of SPF projects. We have also been able to set a lower than forecast council tax, easing the pressure on households while still maintaining financial sustainability. And underpinning every decision within this budget is a clear focus on the long term. And by strengthening our financial position now, we can drive future savings, support investors to save initiatives. And this approach delivers for the year ahead and secures benefits for future years. In short, this budget is stable, responsible and forward-looking, protects core services, avoids the use of budget reserves, minimises financial pressures on residents, and places long-term sustainability at the heart of our decision-making. So for these, I will move the recommendations as written at 2.1 through to 2.12. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder, please?
Madam Mayor, I'm happy to second the recommendation, and I will speak first quickly. I'll keep it relatively brief. As you're all aware, tonight witnesses the second budget of our administration. This year has been different to the first, with new challenges and obstacles to overcome. But I have to say we've come out the other side in a better place than I originally thought. I have no issues in sharing that back in September, October, I was really concerned with the financial situation we were finding ourselves in. Be under no illusions though, we've had a much better settlement, and this cannot be guaranteed again next year, as none of us know what the political makeup at the Senate will be and what the new administration will prioritise down there. That being said, I am heartened to say that transformation has begun and the development and speed will increase over the coming weeks and months. I'm completely focused with our vision for a fit-for-purpose 21st century authority, which will be something we will all be proud of. This will ensure our staff, residents and the services we provide are protected as best we can and delivered efficiently and effectively. It was important for us to maintain service delivery while keeping any council tax increase to a minimum, which is the feedback we received from this year's budget consultation. We've engaged with residents across the breadth of our county borough, 17 roadshows in total. We have listened to you all and we feel that this budget reflects those voices. We have allocated additional funding for ALN support in schools and we protect vital service functions, social service functions. We invest in highways improvements, playgrounds, sports fields and community facilities. We're also investing in key assets such as Cyngor Castle and the Red House. Just to reiterate, we are a council that listens and puts the needs of our residents first. I would like to thank Councillor Anna Williams-Price for her professionalism, diligence and patience throughout the year, taking this role to a new level, and indeed the whole Cabinet for their commitment and strength during the whole process. You really are a credit to yourselves, this authority and the residents of Merthyr Tydfil. It would be remiss of me not to thank our Director of Finance, Craig Flynn, who has shown professionalism, experience and dignity in his first full complete year. Without exception, the support from the Communications and Cabinet team led by Kerry Dinham has been exemplary. Please pass on mine and the administration's heartfelt thanks to the team. We truly value your input and excellent customer service you provide. The working relationship we've built as administration with the senior leadership team is born out of respect, trust and transparency and challenge, I might add. Without doubt, these key building blocks in ensuring continuity and growth of our organisation. For this, I thank you all. We're lucky to have such a committed and talented leadership team. On that note, I'm happy to second recommendation 2.1 to 2.12 of the report. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Carter. Then we go to questions then, please. Okay.
Yeah.
Councillor David Hughes, please.
Can I make an amendment, Madam Mayor?
What? Yeah, what is the amendment? And then we'll have to go to second.
Well, I tell you why I want to make this amendment. Over the 7 years that I was in Cabinet, we often have to make them hard decisions, which I'm sure you have found this year. But after about a month later, we were always presented that we had a surplus in our budget. So my amendment is, if we have a surplus this year, after we set this budget, that money will go back to our residents of Merthyr to help with the council tax.
Okay.
So that's my amendment.
Okay. Do we have a second of the amendment then, please?
Yeah, I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, monitoring officer. Next steps then, please.
Sure.
Sorry?
Questions on the
Good questions on the amendment, sir. Do you have any questions around the amendment then, please?
And Craig Flynn wants to
Craig Flynn.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. With regard to the proposed amendment that Councillor Hughes has put forward, that by using a potential surplus that doesn't deliver a balanced budget, the amendment would have to be that you would look to use a budget reserve to balance the budget, because there's no certainty around an in-year surplus in 25-26 to use to balance the budget as per the amendment put forward.
Thank you. Okay, any questions? Further questions?
Sorry, I'm full of cold myself. Having heard the response from Craig Flynn, Councillor Hughes, do you still want to move that amendment?
Yes, please, monitor officer.
That's been seconded by
Councillor
Barry.
Two good questions.
Councillor Barry.
Councillor Barry, please.
What is, if I could address Craig Flynn, what is the position at the moment in terms of our revenue surplus?
Just for clarification, Councillor Barry, are you looking for the budget reserve or are you looking for the in-year position for 25-26?
In-year position on revenue surplus.
That was reported at Q2 and we're finalising the Q3 report at just over 700,000 overspend. So there is no surplus position at this moment in time.
Okay. I think just to clarify what Councillor Hughes is talking about, it's always Q4 when the surplus position changes and when those late grants tend to come in. So we'll know the surplus position in approximately, correct me if I'm wrong, but June, July this year.
That's correct, yes, Councillor Barry.
Yeah. Just to clarify when we'll know about it, so the Councillor Hughes is clear. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go to questions then on the amendment. Is there any questions on the amendment then, please? No question. Councillor Jamie Scrivens, please.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I just confirm? I'm trying to understand. So obviously, once the resolution is set, that can't be changed in this financial year. And Craig, am I right in saying it couldn't be changed when we have Q4 results out? So I'm just trying to understand that process and what flexibility sits around what's being asked of us.
That is correct, Councillor Scriven, because the Council has to set a balanced budget by the 11th of March. This is the report that's being brought forward with a balanced budget. Should that amendment be passed, that would mean that we would have to use a budget reserve to balance the budget. Although that's a lawful budget, what it doesn't provide is the financial sustainability of the organisation going forward, as that council tax is not obviously recurrent then.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you. Right, any further questions? Councillor David Jones, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like Councillor Hughes to explain, if there was money available, how he would reduce council tax, what method he's looking at.
Thank you, Dave. I would like to see the money divided on the whatever the council band is, that amount paid back to each household.
Any further questions?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, Councillor Geraint-Thomas then, please.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the amendment is practical, to be honest. I don't think it's possible. I know, Dave, you mean well, but I think there's so many unknowns and uncertainties. I don't think we can do that. But if when we vote on this amendment, right, I wouldn't mind tabling another one that if there was a surplus, it would go in to replace the buffer money.
Right, we need to obviously deal with this one first, yeah? So any further questions? No? Any further comments? Councillor Andrew Barry, please.
Yeah, just for clarity, I suppose, is it possible to be giving a rebate later on in the year once there's clarity around the surplus, Craig?
But this is a question. We've moved on to comments.
Apologies.
Councillor Allen, comment?
Thank you. Based on the information and background provided by the Director of Finance about the risk that this amendment proposed, I would not be willing to support it. And I would also suggest that people who propose and second an amendment need to be clear on what they are proposing rather than asking questions at this stage.
Okay, then we'll take it to the vote.
Okay.
If there's no further comments, yeah?
So now need to vote on the amendment. The amendment is Councillor Hughes' amendment as seconded by Councillor Barring. Could everyone in favour of the amendment please raise their hands? Okay. Could you lower those, please? So could all councillors not in agreement with the amendment please raise their hands? Even if you could lower those, please. And if there's any councillor wishing to abstain, could they raise their hands? Okay. Thank you. So the amendment is not carried. So we go back to the substantive motion.
Okay. There's a second amendment coming from Geraint Thomas. So, Councillor Geraint Thomas, please.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to ask some questions really on the main substantive motion first.
Okay. So we just moved to comments.
We've had all the questions.
Yeah.
Not on the no, I don't think.
Not on the main one. Sorry, Councillor Thomas. You're right. Yeah, that's fine, Councillor Thomas.
I think Lisa's put her hand up before me now, so I know Lisa wants to come in first. So I'll go
No,
after
it's
Lisa.
all right. I did originally have my hand up for questions on the main substantive motion.
You go first, Lisa. You go first.
That's all right. Leader, you mentioned that you'd provided additional monies for ALN. I would like to know what those additional monies for ALN are, please.
Of course. Craig, do you want to come in and cover that over?
Certainly, the uplift year on year in real terms for ALN is, bear with me, is 13.1% increase.
Yeah, I just need clarification on it because, as you all know, we've had a lot of debate around ALN recently, and I just want to make sure that this isn't misconstrued. So whilst the uplift is there for ALN, this isn't the additional monies that those parents and carers were calling for outside Civic last week. I just want to make sure for public perception that that isn't misconstrued. Do you see what I'm saying, Craig?
Accept that, Councillor Bitton, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Geraint Thomas, please.
Yeah, my first question, Madam Mayor, is on the process of the recommendations. So we're not going to take them one by one. We're going to take them all in one block, yeah? 2.1 to 2.12, I think, when we get to it, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Obviously, this is the budget for the whole year and the whole council revenue spend. So can I ask the cabinet member, how much revenue are we going to spend with or give to our third sector partners this year?
Thanks, Geraint. So there's a variety of SLAs that sit across different service areas. So they'll be, we haven't gone to that level of detail on this budget. I'm not sure if individual directors will be able to provide more detail in what's accounted for.
Madam
Anyone?
Mayor, Madam Mayor, can I come in? If third sector organisations are going to be discussed, I just wanted to raise that to declare an interest. Obviously, I do work for an external organisation, but after consultation with the monitoring officer and the chair of standards, I'm able to speak and vote. So I just wanted to put that on the record in case that organisation is named. Thank you.
Is there a particular organisation you would like detail on, Councillor Thomas? That might be helpful to understand what you can provide.
Yeah, only because, right, my question really relates to having us to use BIFA money to fund a gap in our budget when we are paying out the third sector organisations. You know, we know a number of our staff are going to be redundant in a few weeks' time, and I just feel, you know, sometimes you've got to look after your own front door before anybody else. So, you know, if you can give me, you know, some organisations that perhaps is having over the £420,000 that we've given from BIFA.
Councillor Thomas, sorry, just to jump in quickly. I know you brought up the subject of BIFA language. Are we, just to confirm, Geraint, are we allowed to talk about that because this was an exempt report we just discussed?
No, it's in the report, and I read.
Great. It was in the report, great.
Yeah. 6.91, 6.9.1. So, what organisations are we going to give over £500,000 to out of co-funding?
So, Councillor Thomas, I think with regards to the 5.532 million, that's the sum of monies that we've agreed for specific projects in the exempt item taken this evening.
No, that's different. I'm talking about co-funding from council revenue budget. Nothing to do with any form of SPF or growth fund. This is co-funded.
Yeah, no, I understand your question, but I said I don't have specific detail on each funding that we provide from core to external organisations. I just want to clarify that the item you've referenced in 6.91 is the exempt item we've agreed tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know. Apologies, I don't know if Craig then would have that detail to hand either.
I think it's important that we know as councillors, though, where you know these large sums of money, core money, is going from. When you know we know there's some serious issues happening currently inside the local authority, funding gaps.
I don't think there would be any issue in providing that detail outside of this meeting. As I said, apologies, don't have that detail to provide to you now.
Well, thank you very much, but if we can have it as soon as possible, please. Another question I have is, prior to the intervention by Plaid Cymru with Welsh Labour government, we were having 2.5% uplift in our revenue budget for this year. Thanks to Plaid Cymru, we've now got 4.7%. So if we didn't have that uplift in funding, how would we have filled our gap?
Council tax rise, I believe.
Yeah. Councillor Thomas, I'm
a big one.
Not quite sure where you got the information about with Plaid Cymru stepping in with regards to that. I think it was Plaid Cymru had to come to the table. The information I got is slightly different, but you know we probably agreed to differ with regards to that. I would have thought that we'd probably be having a very different conversation here tonight if we didn't have that uplift. And Councillor Salmon is right. We'd be looking at all sorts of different options then, including a higher council tax rate, job reductions, also all sorts of unpalliative things which we wouldn't like to see.
Okay, all right then. So my last question, really, right, and this is when I might get to the amendment. So in the report, there's 6.9.1. It mentions the 420,000 that we've agreed, that the council agreed to fill the SPF gap, right? For this year, for 1 year. Now, in the report, it says that 1% of council tax is worth around about £400,000. Yeah, so if that money were used for council tax, we'd be looking at 3.95 tonight and not 4.95. So in the same kind of terms that Councillor Hughes went down the road earlier, if I can make an amendment to say, if we do make a revenue surplus halfway through the year or at the end of the year, could that money be repaid to the Biffa fund, and be used as a community fund as it should be going forward?
Is Craig coming in to answer that?
Craig?
Sorry for the delay coming back in. I'll have to come back to you, Councillor Thomas, because that would be using councillor taxpayer money for that purpose, and I'll have to just clarify if that would be a legal use of the council's budget.
All right, thank you, Craig. So obviously, I'm not going to raise that amendment tonight. Then, if it's not going to be legal, right? So, but that's my current thinking at this moment of time. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Thomas. Councillor Lisa Mitton, please.
Madam Mayor, I know I've already asked questions, but it's just a matter of clarity for me because I'm a little bit confused. I do apologise. Craig, are we just saying because of the declaration of interest that Councillor Minute-Vokes made as well, and there may have been some questions around some of those bodies, we haven't got the devil in the detail tonight, but the core budget is being allocated to some businesses that we've supported year on year. It's a roundabout way of asking it, but is that right?
Yeah, any change to the budget would be featuring in the additional demands or cost reductions, and as those do not demonstrate any changes to the previous allocated budget, then they will continue in situ.
So in that case then, to be quite blunt, when we're talking about Safer Merthyr Tydfil, with whom Councillor Minute-Vokes makes the declaration of interest, that is within the body of this decision then, is an allocation of funds to those as we do year on year, just for clarity.
Can I just come back in there?
Yeah, thanks, Lou, because I was confused.
No, it's fine. So I sought further clarification again because this came up a few months ago. And Geraint, I'd appreciate if you could come in here as well. It was checked, double checked, and I am able to speak and vote in relation to matters in relation to SMT because of my position within the organisation. It's been double checked, Lisa. Geraint,
Yeah,
if you want to confirm that as well, that's been updated.
Yes.
Okay, so in that case then, under a point of order, I'd like to put a question to the monitoring officer, please. Madam Mayor, I'll give you the point of order. It's 4.11.4.
4.11.4. Yes? Yeah.
It's in the Constitution under declarations of interest. May I ask the monitoring officer the question, Madam Mayor?
Yes, you do. Yes, you can.
Thank you. Monitoring officer, have I just determined then that it is your advice to the Cabinet member under the Constitution and declarations of interest that your advice is that the Cabinet member can declare personal and prejudicial interest and speak and vote on this matter, even though the same advice was sought for another Cabinet member and the advice was completely different, even though the said Cabinet member tonight is directly paid from Safer Merthyr Tydfil, and the other Cabinet member who had an Ombudsman referral and a Standards referral, and the advice from the Standards Committee was said Cabinet member should give personal and prejudicial interest and not vote and leave the meeting when discussed. Are you saying that your advice is now different for a Cabinet member who is being directly paid, so is directly being paid by Safer Merthyr Tydfil, whereas the other Cabinet member was an indirect responsibility? I just want it on record and for clarification.
Yeah, Councillor Mitten, the Councillor Minette-Vokes is a paid employee of Safer Merthyr Tydfil. I gave her advice that her interest was personal, it was not prejudicial, it was discussed with the standards, the standards department, and it came back with the same advice.
Okay, so as member of the Standards Committee, it's been discussed with my chair?
I have discussed it with your chair, yes.
Right, okay. So the advice given by Standards Committee to Councillor Michelle Jones is now different to what Standards Committee is given to this councillor new as monitoring officer. I need that for clarification because obviously I need to go back to Standards Committee and check. Thank you.
I've given you my answer, Councillor Mitten. The advice
you
that
have,
I
and
gave
it's on record tonight that that has now changed, yeah? That advice has now changed, just for clarification. You have that on, we have that on record tonight, yeah?
I didn't actually deal with the Councillor Michelle Jones issue. I've given you the answer in relation to Councillor Minette Vokes, and my answer is obviously on record.
Monitoring officer, can I just advise you that I know you didn't give Councillor Michelle Jones the advice, but Standards Committee did. Are we now saying the advice from Standards Committee was incorrect or changed? I need that for clarification when I follow up this matter post tonight's meeting.
Councillor, I can't answer. I haven't seen Councillor Michelle Jones's response. I haven't looked at it for a long time. As I said, that was dealt with prior to me becoming monitoring officer. I've given you my answer in relation to Councillor Minette Vokes. I'm quite happy to discuss it with you outside this meeting afterwards if you wish.
I will do. And can I just on record please ensure that this is not a reflection of Councillor Minette Vokes. This is a reflection of principle, constitution and advice and guidance from a monitoring officer. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Billy Smith, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I clarify a point? Because I got a funny feeling that Safe and Merthyr don't get a penny from the local authorities. So I think that want to be clarified before any comments are made. Who will be talking to me?
I'll talk to you. Yeah.
Thanks. Madam Mayor, great.
I'll answer it.
I don't know who's being addressed to.
Could the director come in, please?
I think Craig could give you the amount, Bill.
Any directors want to come in, please, to the meeting to give some clarification?
Madam Mayor, more than happy to come in. I am seeking that information from directorates. We have completeness. Councillor Thomas made that request today, the first thing this morning, which I was duly responding when I have the completeness and the information, and I'm more than happy then to share that with the full membership of the council.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Councillor David Hughes, please. Oh, sorry, Councillor Clive Tubby, please.
Oh, sorry, Clive.
Sorry, Councillor Hughes. So again, a little bit. You're on mute, Clive.
Sorry, it was a mistake that my hand was up. Sorry about
okay,
that.
then. Councillor David Hughes, then, please.
Yeah. But I don't know whether I should declare interest because the charity that I work for has funding from the council, so I want that noted. But I haven't been mentioned here today.
So are you declaring an interest, Councillor Hughes?
Yes, I am, yeah.
What's the
okay, and Councillor Michelle Jones, then, please.
Sorry for the delay. Yeah. I'm just going from screen to screen here. So my question is on page 143 of the report, 6.2.1. So bear with me while I just go back to that. So this is for Cabinet Member for Education, please. So it says that the NJC pay award, a pay award uplift of 2.5% for both teaching from September 26 and non-teaching from April 2026 will be subject to national negotiations, which I appreciate, and pay awards above the assumed level of 2.5% will need to be funded in year through any service underspends and or a call on reserves. So my question is that given that teachers have received pay rises of 4%, 5.5% and 6.5% in recent years, and considering that national unions are currently seeking up for a higher uplift, such as 10% for NJC staff and multi-year increases for teachers, do you feel that a 2.5% assumption for 2026 is realistic? And what contingencies do you have in place if this is the final award? Sorry, if the final award is higher than this? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your Anna. Is that right? So I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Jones. So I think the approach we will take, if the pay awards are higher than predicted, is an approach to be taken more corporately rather than within the education service. So perhaps I could bring in Craig there to update more generally on how that's been approached.
Thank you, Councillor. Yes, with regards to any pay award over and above that, that will obviously provide an in-year cost pressure, which we will look to manage. I just need to flag up to the membership of the council again that at the end of the 23-24 financial year, we created a earmark reserve for pay award. That remains untouched for currently in the current financial year because we have received in-year funding from Welsh Government. So there will be an opportunity for that to be maintained within our accounts and to be used, as it says in 6.21, as a call on reserves.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Andrew Barry, please.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Similar vein, really. We have on page 140 a suggestion that what will happen with this coming budget is that what's previously sat outside the budget in terms of grant funding will now be placed in the current budget, the form of specific grants, and we're likely to see 2.654 million, which is a substantial amount. But there's no detail on what those grants are to be used for, and if those grants are linked to inflation, for example, so that we're not missing out in terms of what the grants were used for last year and what now, as part of core, we'll be asked to use them for this year. So the amounts that have gone in, are they appropriate for what was used last year? Because there's no detail on it.
Craig,
is it possible you could come in, please, yet again?
Yes, certainly, Madam Mayor. The report provides the financial picture with regards to the provisional and final settlement, and is by specific reference to major changes. There is a publication of the complete set of grants available for local government across at all Wales level. The approach was that the grants would increase by circa 2%. So obviously, if there's a pay pressure within those, then touching back on your query, Councillor Barry, then the spending power is diminished by that if this pay award is over and above the 2% uplift.
So what we're saying, it is just a percentage uplift in what grants have been made available to the authority and not specifically allocated to anything in particular.
That's a general comment, and there is specific grants that are allocated based on different indicators, but that is the all Wales uplift is by the 2%.
Yeah, I see that, and our element, which is 2.654, there's no detail on what that was used for and what it's going to be used for. So there's no clarity on whether that amount is going to be relevant for what it's purposed to do. That's the issue with it, isn't it? Because there's no detail on what it's going to be used for. It is just a mathematical interpretation of the 2% increase all throughout Wales, is it?
That isn't considered as part of this budget report. We're not seeking the use of the grant within this report. This is the core revenue budget. Where
Yeah,
we are
absolutely.
using the grant, they are detailed within the cost reductions proposals that is part of the recommendation that the council will vote on today.
Okay, thank you, Craig.
Thank you. No further questions. Can I just say thank you to Craig for coming in and answering so many questions. Craig, well done, thank you. Can we move on to comments then, please? No comments? Councillor Lisa Mitten, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a comment around it. I mean, inevitably, and I think Councillor Thomas alluded to this, but, you know, I do note what the leader said, and having been in those shoes before, it is a very difficult decision when you're trying to balance the books and also, you know, agree a council tax as well. I think what's disappointing is that, you know, and this is nothing to do with the council, but just across the board, we've been promised reform of council tax for nearly 6 years now, and that is so desperately needed because it's not fair and it's not equal. I think the disappointing thing for us really is, and this is where we try to support the decision by repurposing money perhaps from BIFA, etc., to ease the burden onto residents. But what we have to remember is that on a national level, the First Minister and Plaid Cymru agreed a budget designed to protect the most vulnerable, and we in Merthyr Tydfil aren't doing that. I note that our colleagues in Rhondda, Bridgend and other authorities are doing that, so they're listening to the pledge that was made by the First Minister, you know, that we do need to support the most vulnerable. And you're in Merthyr Tydfil, we aren't. A 4.9 council tax increase when we could mitigate it in other areas is not necessary. We could bring it down by at least 1% to 3.9% if we did repurpose and relook at some of those figures. So it does go against the grain and spirit of the national budget and the needs of our community. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Geraint-Thomas, please.
Yeah, I won't go over what Lisa said, but I totally support what she just said a minute ago. But for me, yeah, we did have an opportunity over the last week or so to reduce council tax by 1%, and you know, 3.95 was getting closer to the inflation rate, which I think was palatable. We know setting council tax and setting a budget, you know, it's not a great place to be. It's a horrendous place to be. You know, we know that. You know, it's very difficult, right? But we could have gone 1% lower this evening. So, you know, I won't be supporting the budget.
Okay, Councillor Louise Minute-Vokes, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If it's okay, I just wanted to make some comments on the social services budget, if that's okay. Try and emphasise on some positives.
Yeah.
So obviously, despite challenging financial landscape, careful budget planning and effective use of Welsh Government grant funding has enabled social services in Merthyr Tydfil to increase local capacity, reduce reliance on high-cost external placements, and invest in preventative services that improve long-term outcomes for residents. This is transformation, not salami slicing. It's careful, evidence-led budgeting that puts people and outcomes first, with nothing rolled over by default. First and foremost, we will always protect safeguarding and our statutory duties. Those are non-negotiable. When it comes to safeguarding health and care, there isn't a price tag that we can put on keeping people safe. These are statutory, moral and human duties, and sometimes the pressures arrive without warning. We can plan well, but we can't predict everything. What we do have is a choice in how we respond, such as quicker routes to the right support, prevention, working regionally with partners, being transparent, owning the risks, having realistic assumptions, tracking the numbers and adjusting fast when things change. So around that foundation, there has been accomplishments this last year and plans for the year ahead, some of which I will touch upon. There's been major service developments in children's services. We've had some of our residential children's homes opened, more planned for 26-27. This has supported our sufficiency and the removal of profit agenda. Moving to this model means the money we spend on children's homes and fostering is reinvested in care and support, not taken out as profit. Meaning, in Merthyr Tydfil, children remain closer to home, maintain family and community links, and the council avoids high-cost external placements. Our foster care offer has increased, and the council tax exemption from April 26 will help to support recruitment and retention. More in-house placements means lower long-term spend, better local stability, and ongoing reinvestment in our children. SGO support is also being strengthened, including the creation of a senior post. In adult services, there's been the implementation of the regional integration agenda with health, including Section 33 and the redesign of frontline services. There's been increased capacity through new roles funded by Welsh Government Pathways funding, meaning faster assessments, quicker hospital discharge, more capacity for preventative work and fewer delays for people needing that support. There has been strong performance and highly positive Care Inspectorate Wales inspections, including T-Gurnus, which has been recognised as exemplar good practice. There will be the development of an adult social care vision and strategy, including an accommodation strategy. We've strengthened unpaid carer support and an expansion of community-based preventative work. There's continued strong evidence of partnership working with housing, including housing for 16 plus, extra care, health, CAMS and the third sector. There's been strengthened commissioning in adult services, and there's been joint work with health to ensure fair funding for complex packages. Prevention services stay protected, helping families earlier and reducing reliance on high cost interventions. There's clear and growing use of technology with the Social Workway app, which is improving recording and efficiency. The use of digital pens in family centres is cutting admin time and increasing capacity for direct work. Madam Mayor, in closing, I want to place on record my sincere thanks to everyone who has helped prepare this budget and deliver real change for our residents, to our frontline colleagues, social workers, occupational therapists, reablement teams, home care workers, foster carers, residential staff. Thank you for the skills and compassion you show every day. To our managers, business support, digital and legal and procurement, their quiet, disciplined work make safe, sustainable services possible. And in particular, thank you to accountancy and finance teams for the meticulous, line-by-line, zero-based scrutiny that ensured nothing was rolled over by default and every pound is tied to outcomes. To our partners in health, housing, education, the third sector and to unpaid carers and families, thank you for the collaboration that underpins everything we've achieved. This budget protects safeguarding and statutory duties, invests in what works and uses grants to transform. It's careful, evidence-led and transparent, with clear plans to track benefits and adjust quickly as pressures change. Above all, it keeps people at the centre, so every decision and every pound delivers for Merthyr Tydfil. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor David Hughes, please.
Only Madam Mayor, Councillor Minfolks mentioned SGO in a little speech there, so I have to declare interest again because I'm SGO carer.
Okay. We go to Councillor Carter then, please.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just like to thank Councillor Mitten and Councillor Thomas for the comments this evening. It is a very tough place to be trying to set a balanced budget, and I totally appreciate that, as you all were. I'd like to think throughout this process, I have been open and honest with the public, especially during the roadshows where I openly discussed a potential increase of 5% council tax. That was throughout the full process. You know, it's great to say we could have reduced the council tax by 1%. It is, and I would have loved to have been able to reduce it by 1%. But to say those things, you need to tell me and tell us where it's going to come, where it's actually going to come from. It's roughly £300,000, so that would have been appreciated. And I really hope next year going forward now, you'll take me up on the offer of our monthly meetings, and we can have good, open and honest conversations between all of us going forward. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Andrew Barry, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. The comments by Louise were much appreciated. I'm sure Darius would appreciate them, because he's the one who started, along with the Indie Group, back in 2017, that journey to get our own care homes for our looked after children, and to see it coming to fruition is a great sense of pride, I know, for David and the rest of the independent group. It's a comment really on the model that we have. You know, we're spending £180 million to keep this council going. When the public look at a settlement figure of 9.1 million, we've had pension savings of 2.3 million, cost reductions of 3.5 million. They must be thinking, where is that money going? And we always go back for council tax. I take Councillor Carter's point. It is the most difficult thing to come to the residents in Merthyr and continually ask them for council tax. We've done it infinitum, and it just says to me that the model is wrong. We have to readdress the model. We have to do it differently, because the cost of living crisis is not going away for the residents of Merthyr Tydfil. There's no sign of it in the near future going away, which means we have to change our tack as a council, as councils across Wales, and apply a different model so that we're not spending this obscene amount of money, and we're still in the same position of having deprived wards, some of the worst in Europe, and we don't seem to be getting out of it. So the model has to change. I appreciate, Councillor Carter, what you're saying. We've all been there. It's the most difficult thing to have to do this. But we are restricted, and we're trying to do this with our hands tied behind our back because the model doesn't allow anything else. So the model has to change. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Barry. Councillor Gareth Lewis, please.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to add, from an education perspective, this budget sends a clear and positive signal about our priorities. We are investing an additional 2.669 million in education for this year, a 3.8% increase that recognises the pressures schools are facing around pay, pension, and the growing complexity of pupils' additional learning needs. For the second consecutive year, this administration has honoured its commitment not to ask schools for further efficiency savings, ensuring that no additional cuts are required at a time when school budgets remain tight. Through Welsh Government support, the school's standards grant rises from 169.2 million to 178.1 million, and the education equality grant increases from 156.2 million to 158.7 million. Together, these measures demonstrate our clear and continued commitment to protecting education, supporting our learners, and giving every young person the best possible chance to succeed. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Lewis. And go to Councillor Anna Williams-Price now then, please, to close on comments.
Thank you, Chair. Just to
Excuse me, Chair, can I ask Gareth a question there, please?
Well, we can't, sorry, we've moved on to comments, we're not on questions.
Is it on the question of what he said?
But it doesn't matter, we don't comment.
He made a statement there. I want to ask him the statement, so.
Well, can we do it off record then? Because as Chair, we've moved on now to comments. I'm sorry.
I thought I'm allowed to ask a question on his comment.
On a point of clarity, if
a point of clarity, Councillor Hughes, yeah.
It is a point of clarity.
Okay.
Gareth said that he said that there was an increase of 3.8. Is that correct?
3.8%.
First paragraph.
8%, they said.
3.8.
Yeah, it's in the report under 8.4.
Yeah, 3.8. Didn't we have a settlement of 4.7? I thought we had a 4.7 increase.
Okay, the clarification you're looking for is on 8.4, the report, Councillor Hughes.
Yeah, but you said 3.8, and you didn't have, and it wasn't that for the cut. Well, you had 4.7. I thought you could have given 4.7.
Well, it's a point of clarity. Yeah, that's taken on. Questions being answered. Okay, Councillor Anna Williams-Price, please.
Thank you, Chair. Just like to reiterate some comments from my introduction regarding this budget on balance, which I believe to be stable, responsible and forward-looking, protecting core services, avoiding use of budget reserves, and as much as possible keeping financial pressures on residents to a minimum. With regards to a lower council tax figure, I think in the previous debate we've discussed that there is no sensible or sustainable route to lower the council increase further. If there was, I'm sure all members would be open to it and supportive. More generally, I completely agree that council tax in its current form is regressive, and a priority for the next Welsh Government needs to be reform of that system. That work has already started in some shape or form, but local government asked to delay until 2028. So I believe it remains a priority and should remain a priority to reform a system which we know doesn't work for the current makeup of our households and communities within Merthyr Tydfil. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then we'll take it to the vote then, please.
Okay, so could all councillors who are in agreement with the recommendation please raise their hands? Do you lower those, please? Could all councillors not in agreement with the recommendation please raise their hands? Okay. If you could lower those, please. And any councillor wishing to abstain, they could raise their hands. And thank you. The recommendation is carried, Chair.
Okay, thank you. We move on now to agenda item 6 to deal with any other urgent business or correspondence. There is none. Item 7, guys, please.
Sorry.
Item 7, to receive communication from their worship the Mayor. I do. It is with sadness that we note the passing of former councillor Leon James Stanfield, who served the Park Board from 1999 to 2004 and played an important role in establishing the Brecon Mountain Steam Railway. He was a former teacher, active in our community from the 1960s onward, and a talented sportsman who won the British Bowl Singles Championship in 1966 and the Welsh Indoor Championships in 1977. We extend our sincere condolences to his family and his friends at this time. That is it. Thank you all for attending. The meeting is now closed.
Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.